Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Beausejour Curling Club, Curl Moncton, now known here for the Papa John's 21 and under Provincial Curling Championships on 5TV1, powered by Bell Alliance. Roger Surratt calling the play-by-play. Andy Peterson to my left doing the color tonight. Tonight we should have a great game. It is a must-win for these two teams between Team Alex Preasley from the Capital Winter Club against Team Leighton MacCabe from right here in Curl Moncton. We think that maybe MacCabe might have a little bit of the advantage as being more of a veteran and also being familiar with this ice surface, but anything can happen in a triple knockout tournament.
Absolutely, Roger. We are underway, as you see, second rock of the and the first rock for Preasley with hammer here in the first rock of the end, coming to rest in the forefoot, and then calling a takeout following that. And you see the teams are probably a couple of rocks already in the house. Probably going to play this fairly wide open. Get any of the shouldn't have any jitters now. This is the third game, as you mentioned, for both teams. Third game, both 0-2. It is win and stay alive, lose and go home. You see in the house right now, you see the third for the MacCabe team, Jack Smeltzer, calling line here. And rocks rolling out, so a bit of a reset.
Team Preasley does hold a hammer, so you can see these two teams really start to play a defensive game, trying to keep this at an even keel and then start their strategy maybe a little bit later on. So we know that hammer is power in this game, so Preasley would like to hold on to it more than likely in the even ends. As we know, towards the end, you'd like to have that hammer in the 10th and final end.
If it's close, absolutely. You want that last rock advantage. You see Preasley here, again, with a little bit of a reset with the last rocks, the hit and the roll out. Preasley with hammer is going to throw up a corner guard and see if he can generate some points here. Multiple score with that type of play, and that'll leave the center line open. Although the response from Team MacCabe and Jack Smeltzer calling for a center line guard, so as though they're willing to mix it up here in the first end.
Nick McDermott, who was the second for Team MacCabe.
See that rock slipping just into the top of the 12-foot. And call for a little hit, see if they can get the roll behind that corner guard that you'll see come into play.
James Larley with his first stone.
The intern for the left-hander, running fairly straight down that 4-foot line. But you mentioned the opening.
So now here we've got a miss, and now that gives the opportunity for Team MacCabe to try to protect that stone that's in the top 12.
A couple of opportunities here, and what we just saw on that last rock was that rock run fairly straight down that 4-foot line. And you mentioned in the opener, Roger, that the MacCabe team may have a bit of a home field, a home ice advantage here. Although the playing surface has been completely and very nicely redone here over the days leading up to this championship. So there may be some consistencies in it, but the speed and such is quicker than we usually have during club play here with the playing conditions here at the provincial championship.
So Team Leighton MacCabe is playing tonight as a three-man unit.
Yeah, they are. So what you'll see is essentially the first thrower of the end, whether you call that person the lead or the second. The first thrower will throw 3 rocks. The second thrower will throw 3 rocks, which will leave Skip Leighton MacCabe with the last 2 rocks of the end. You see Jack Smeltzer's rock here coming to rest just top 8-foot. So decision time here with last rock. Easily calling for a hit. Looks like they want to hit and nose. The option would be to play a double, but the angle isn't fantastic for that to stick around. So here's Larley again.
So Larley's second shot, looking to try to get an outward roll. Line looks good from our vantage point.
Just a quiet weight shot here. Looks like he may end up with the double, although not the call. That was likely what was going to happen, was have his shooter roll out over the top, and you the house now clear again, although those two blue rocks in the back could come into play. Those rocks are MacCabe stone, but Preasley could, with last rock, decide to use those to freeze down to. So here's Jack Smeltzer settling into the hack.
Smeltzer is going to have his second stone here of this end. Open house. Can use the corner guard to the right of your screen to his advantage. Although it is a guard that was put up by Preasley.
Yeah, he's playing away from that guard. He's going to keep the play to the center. He doesn't want to give Preasley any advantage here to hit and roll or freeze behind that yellow corner guard, because that would suddenly bring a potential 2 into play. So this rock just slipping in, a little biter, half in, half out on the top. Preasley calling for a little hit and roll away, and here's where Roger they can take advantage of that yellow corner guard that you'll see come into play.
So Team MacCabe has a stone just biting the top 12.
Pressure's on this right away for line. They do want a little bit of a roll here, and you see they jumped on that right away, but there's a little there was a spot there where they called the line on, and there's that back stone coming into play. I mentioned earlier that it might be something for Preasley to freeze to. However, the Preasley team with that miss jammed that back into the rock that was just off the rings, and leaving themselves with a biter on the back. However, for Preasley, with last rock in the house fairly wide open, still a chance to be a little aggressive with their last couple of rocks and still have an opportunity, if they really needed to score one to salvage the end, or potentially blank on that on a hit and roll on that far rock. But we still have some rocks to play. Sweeper's on this one right away.
Jack Smeltzer with his third shot of the end.
That's a tough play too. When you only have 3, if you need some sweeping, you saw Jack with the throw and then jumping up to help the sweep, and that can wear on you by the time you've played 10 ends. And both of these teams certainly hoping it'll go 10 ends. Have a little hit and roll. He can make a play on that blue MacCabe stone and roll over and both negate that blue rock. The back of the house that you'll see come into play here very shortly, and roll into that, and essentially get a takeout and a freeze at the same time, and suddenly the 2 is on again, but this rock is over curling on them.
That was a second shot for Declan Johnson, and that one's just going to go through the house.
That's twice down that center line now that they've been fooled. So it's either the ice has changed a little bit from practice, but that's quite unlikely. I'm not sure if these teams, I don't think these teams have played on this sheet yet in this provincial championship, so it's new territory for them.
So we're down to skip stones at late MacCabe here in this first end. And MacCabe sees the opportunity. As of right now, there's 2 blue stones inside the house.
The sweeper just escorting down there. The speed is good. A little deeper than he would have liked, but if he can either tuck that around or split, that wasn't the call. That does leave Preasley with the opportunity here to play the double. Play the double, you're pretty well going to sit there right in the middle. So as far as rolling under anything or rolling over towards those rocks in the back to use them as backing or any kind of catcher is highly unlikely.
So Alex Preasley just giving the call to Declan Johnson just to move the brush a little bit to our left.
You'll see come into play the one lineup wrinkle for this Preasley team is lead Hanson Green calls line for the Skips Rocks. See Alex Preasley, right-hander.
First stone for Preasley here in this first end.
Hander with his in turn, throwing up weight at this. Pressures on it.
The line looks good. And he will split the rocks. His will roll, but will it stay in and lie shot? That is a very good question.
He's just offside the rings there. He's just outside, so it remains one blue rock.
So Team MacCabe, line 1.
Team MacCabe with a couple of options here. They could attempt to essentially draw around that yellow stone that you now see on the that you saw a moment ago on the left-hand side, but they're opting just to draw into the open, and that will lead the Preasley team into playing a wide open hit on this, with the goal from MacCabe here being either to coax a nose hit out of Preasley and get them to score 1 and hammer then over to MacCabe, or potentially get a hit and roll out and a steal of 1. We've seen already a wide open miss down this center line, so they have to be wary of what they're doing here.
So MacCabe's final shot just went behind the tee line, biting the back button. So now Preasley getting ready for his final shot. You can see Team MacCabe is lying 2.
Nose hit will be the goal here. There's really not much opportunity for a blank. A very flat, wide double for a blank, which is certainly not something they need to do. If they really had to, they could play this, but they'll be really happy with this particular shot to nose and take their 1 and move on. We'll see what kind of weight he throws here, because they did get caught early in the end with a rock that did overcurl in this spot and ended up in a wide open miss coming across the face of the rock.
Final stone here in this first end.
Pressure's on this right away, and we're seeing the same thing. There's a lot of curl right there in that spot.
And is it going to overcurl? It'll bite the back and it'll roll out, and it'll be a steal of 1 for Team MacCabe, as the one that was biting on the edge of the back 12 in the corner pays dividends for Team MacCabe. So Team Leighton MacCabe from Carl Moncton has a 1-0 lead after the first end here at the Papa John's 21 and under junior curling under 21 curling championships on 5TV1, powered by Roger Surrett, calling the play-by-play. Andy Peterson doing the color here tonight, doing a very good job all weekend long. Thank you very much, Andy, for being with us here for this under 21 championships. And also I'd like to thank some of the other sponsors here for their support for this tournament. Also Bob Lee Productions, Modern Construction, Shoppers Drug Mart, and of course Bell Line TV1 to provide the coverage on sheets 7 and 9 here. We are the feature game, which is Team Leighton MacCabe taking a 1-0 lead, taking a steal of 1 against Team Alex Preasley.
So you see the opening rock at the end coming into view here now. Winston MacCabe with the guard, and so Preasley, having given up the steal, retains last rock. While the teams get the second end here underway, we'll go across the sheets. We have 2 other games in play tonight. We have after one end on both of those games a no score between Tracy and Marine, 0 score there, and no score in the game between Donovan and Lewis. And we'll keep you updated on both of those games as well. And as Roger just mentioned, if you need to flip over and see what's going on in the Tracy Marine game, sheet 7, you can go to again Bell Alliant TV1, and there is no commentary, but you can have a look and see what the action's doing over there as we see another guard come into play. So Preasley, after giving up the steal, is going full out here, perhaps to score multiple points.
We can call sheet 7 the appetizer, while sheet 9 with us.
Are we the main course?
We're the main course.
We're the main
Definitely
course.
the main course. So guards put up here with the first stones. So Winston MacCabe throwing his second shot.
And again, with Team MacCabe, a team of 3, so you'll see 3 rocks from Winston MacCabe, 3 rocks from Jack Smeltzer, and 2 from Skip Leighton MacCabe calling for this rock. In a great looking shot here, right in behind cover, and again, in addition to this being a team of three, we have Jack Smeltzer, who is throwing essentially thirds stones. He's throwing 3 rocks, but throwing the thirds stones. Jack is calling the game for Team MacCabe. Another guard and play for Team Preasley, which they are looking to take advantage of right now and calling to draw around this. So both of these teams now in their third game, and a winner keeps going and a loser goes home game. They're both willing to mix it up here in the second end. You see this rock slipping back of the house, and Smeltzer full on to sweep that through, not completely out of play, but out of the rings. Jack calling for a guard here with one completely buried in the top 4, and a tight guard in what we refer to as the 3 zone.
So here, when you look at that, Leighton MacCabe is certainly seeing with that rock going through that second rock going through the house from Team Preasley. He's seeing this as another opening that he can try and capitalize and try and get another steal.
Steal, absolutely. A good-looking rock there, just covering the edge of the guard, covering the edge of the rock and the button, making it difficult. And see here with these 2 guards and one completely buried, Preasley's looking to clean, calling for peel weight. Hits it just right. There may be 2 to get, but he's going to be really happy if he can peel the top guard off. Absolutely.
That top center guard could play a nuisance for Team Preasley if it stays there for a long time, that's for sure. So you got a lot of weight behind it. This could look like it'd be a possible double. They got 1, they got 2, and it's going to roll out. And that is a beautiful shot by James Larley.
It's a great shot to remove 2 guards. However, he's left his shooter up there as well, and what we're going to see now from Team MacCabe.
Place another.
Is place another guard. Absolutely, they can throw 5 more perfect guards here. They'll be really happy. Jack Smeltzer settling into the hack.
So Jack Smeltzer playing double duty here tonight, throwing shots for second and his own stones as. Team MacCabe are playing with 3 members tonight, as Nick McDermott is absent for tonight's game.
See this rock slipping into the rings here.
See if he can freeze it onto his own stone, and it's going to come, and that's a nice shot.
It's absolutely right down to that stone you see in front of Alex Preasley's feet right now. So he's calling to remove his own stone, a yellow hit on the yellow guard up there, but that was a result of the double peel that he made in the previous rock. They're looking to clean this up, and then again force more guards out of Team MacCabe. MacCabe definitely with the early advantage in this end. Nice peel there.
So Jack Smeltzer going to go for his second shot.
Again, with this 3-person team, when you're playing with 3, very taxing on the brushers, because you're either having one brusher or the thrower is jumping up to brush and such. And you don't want to have that thought in your mind when you're throwing. The one advantage it does give you is you're throwing more rocks early. So if you're looking to get a feel for speed and such, being able to throw 3 rocks each end does give you a little advantage there, but it is wearing on the sweepers and the brushers. You see here's 2 brushers in here with the thrower, with Jack Smeltzer jumping up. Good speed, guard over curling just a little bit. The top of rock leaving an opening there.
There is an opening about close to half of the rock.
He can see half a stone. Which, with enough speed, if he throws peel weight at this, he'll be able to, certainly the back rock will go, and the top rock should spin out over the top as well. So 2 brushers on this. No panic from the line call, however.
That gets by the high center guard. Gets one.
Yeah,
and the shooter will roll out in the process.
Yep, hit just a little bit too much on the outside or the high side of that stone to get them both moving, and the weight was more a controlled weight as opposed to a real up weight shot. Again, remembering this is the Preasley team, one of the younger teams in the competition here as well. As you get a little older, you get a little stronger, you can throw it a little harder. That doesn't mean that at my age I throw it really hard.
Oh, at my age, I know for sure it wouldn't be thrown hard at all. But I can tell you this, that just to be here at the Under 21 Provincial Championships is certainly a feather in Preasley's hat. Being a rookie here at being a rookie at this level, sometimes you just gotta take your licks in, get the experience, and when you start building and the little bit older, then you get the more confidence that you get in your shot making. So this is a big learning experience for Team Preasley.
This gives them great experience. Just last year, Moncton hosted the inaugural Under 18 Canadian Championship.
Right.
So there's all kinds of opportunities as you're under 15, under 18, and 21 to compete both against teams that are more in your age category and teams that are older and more experienced, and you can learn.
That's exactly it, and I'm sure that regardless who is on the ice over the course of the weekend, you get to absorb all that what the tournament gives to you. We've seen we've got our defending champion on the boys' side, Team Liam Marin, who's currently on rank 7, and on the girls' side, it is Team Clough, who are the defending champions, and also you've got on the girls' side as well, you've got a team that is Team Justine Como, who's got a ton of experience at the national level for their age category. They're such a young team, but they're such a decorated team as well. And being here in Curl Moncton, it is a big weekend, and having great teams like those, as well as other teams here, it's a big event.
Absolutely. We're down to skip stones now here on sheet 9 with MacCabe. A couple of center line guards and a rock 4 foot just in front of the tee line, calling for another rock here in the house, and this will certainly put some pressure on Team Preasley. We just saw a miss out of Team Preasley a minute ago on an attempt on that rock that's in the 4 foot. That rock coming to rest, shooter, the shot rock just rolling off over the top and now completely buried with a piece of the button and another MacCabe stone on the tee line edge of the 4 foot.
And it gives the opportunity here, if you look at Team Preasley, Alex Preasley, the skip, just to get that stone out that's at the top of the button. He's got to make that perfect shot around that top center guard and just make it precise, get the right amount of curl just to get it out.
Looks like they're lining up the peel. Right now it's 2 rocks to 1. Preasley with last rock after giving up the steal in the first end. Preasley has 2 rocks to play to MacCabe's 1. Preasley is going to try to do a little bit of cleanup here to open up that 4 foot line. If he can get both of those rocks moving, even if not completely out of play, get them off those out of the 4 foot line, give him something with his last rock, knowing that MacCabe can't cover everything with his last rock, leaving him something with the last of the Preasley rocks. But this is the first Preasley rock. See Alex Preasley settling into the hack.
So Preasley's first stone here in the second end.
Looking for a peel weight.
Just doing some house cleaning.
Pressure's on this right now. Needs a little bit on the high side. Looks good. Fantastic shot. Great shot.
Shooter rolls to the outside, high corner guard.
So now for Team MacCabe, again with Jack Smeltzer in the house calling the shots. You could throw a higher guard up there, but they're calling a rock, essentially center line, top 12, with the part of the theory here being sometimes your best guard is third rock, is third stone, and they end up with third shot out of this. will cover the center line. It'll force Preasley into playing at least a double, if not trying a triple for something. This rock looks like it's sliding a little deeper than top 12.
Yeah, Leighton MacCabe knew immediately as soon as it came out of his hand that it was going to be a little bit heavy, but he does freeze on his own rock. There's a little bit of space. Team Preasley is going to take a look at that.
If you can throw it hard enough, there's a triple there. If he just hits it on the side where you see him standing, he could potentially get all three. His deliberation right now is if he noses that rock at the top of the house, it only takes out two. Will he outcount the blue rock that is left? If he only managed to get two going, he might, even if he doesn't make the triple and get all three out of play, if he can get all three moving and get them moving out of the forefoot, if he noses this, he'll have a piece of the forefoot, and that should be enough to count. Tough shot here. He's got to throw some pretty good speed at this.
We can see Declan Johnston was trying to give his feedback as well from the top of the vantage point. It's always good that the entire team can communicate. They get a vantage point from what's over there, and they can always throw in their feedback from where it is. So we got the final stone coming up for Team Preasley here in the second end. Team Leighton MacCabe, line 3 in the forefoot.
This rock is hanging out there.
So we've got the shooter will roll out, so it'll be a steal of 2 for Team MacCabe. And Leighton MacCabe extends his lead here after 2 ends, leading at 3-0. But Team Alex Preasley will hold a hammer to start the third end.
He'd be happy to give up that hammer pretty quickly here after this end. He'd like to score a couple. So we update other games that are underway here at the Papa John's Under-21 Provincial Curling Championships at Curl Moncton. Score remains 0-0 in the Tracy Marine game, and we have a score. Lewis with hammer scoring 1 in the second end now leads Donovan 1-0. So you see the first rock at the end here underway. Jack Smeltzer calling the game for Team MacCabe, calling for a rock in play, top 4. That rock coming a little short. As we see the lead from Team Preasley and some Baird Green settling in. Hanson is 14. He's a student at South Victoria High School, and again, even though this is officially a Capital Winter Club team based out of Fredericton, as we see with many of these teams, not just with juniors but also in adult men's and women's play and in senior play, you have combinations of players from different clubs throughout the province with this. Anson's been curling for 6 years. His home club, Florenceville Curling Club. He's an NB Little Rock champion from 2011. So again, as you mentioned earlier, Roger, this is a young team, but already starting to build up a pretty good curling resume.
Yep. Well, when you can see now that the curlers, they really start at a young age now. You can get those people who start up in programs at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And it's great to see that the sport of curling is really developing with the younger kids this day and age. It's a great sport to watch, a great sport to play, and you can see that a lot of people are having fun doing it. So it's great it's a great thing to see. So
see another rock here, just short of the intention. He was looking to come a little deeper into the house with this. That overcurled and punched his guard in just a little bit, forcing Preasley. Looks like they're calling for a board weight shot on this, and this is a spot on this 4-foot line where he's calling. We've seen a couple of rocks here already that have run a little straighter, so he's tightened up the ice, taking a little less weight, and looking for a board weight shot on this. Looks like it's going to over-curl on him a little bit. He's going to make contact with that
top guard.
With that top tight guard. Shooter rolls out of play, and the blue MacCabe stone just missing. But with the free guard zone in play, that rock comes back. Intention for that shot was to play on the rock top 12 that you see to the right of the screen that you saw just a moment ago on the right of the screen. Over curling, looked like from the slide he may have been a little tight on that as well. So here we go with Team MacCabe calling a come around here. This is Winston MacCabe. Winston 16 and curling for 10 years. You're going to see that a lot out here with some of these young athletes have been curled for more than half of their life. Winston's a past champ of the Kenny Coates, and all the way back to his younger days, the under 8 half sheet champion.
That second shot by MacCabe goes through the house. This opens the door just a bit here for Preasley.
You may have predicted that rock going a little deep, having been a little short on his first two, and compensated a little bit and a little bit too much. Here's James Larley. James is a 16-year-old Fredericton native. 6 years of curling under his belt.
It's a good shot by Larley. Gets the inward turn. Now his Yellowstone is about half buried behind the center guard.
Jack Smeltzer here, settling in. Again, both Winston MacCabe and Jack Smeltzer throwing 3 rocks apiece for Team MacCabe. Here, just a little understaffed with a team of 3 throughout this event. Going for a very short run back on this blue onto yellow stone. This rock curling a little bit over nose. Make contact, just lovely shot. As we watch James Larley prepare for his, we should send some thanks out to the team sponsors for Team Preasley: Top Mar Building Supplies, Fredericton Hyundai, Hospitality Homes, and Kelly Homes. And just as this event doesn't happen with all the sponsors we've been mentioning early in our broadcast, these teams can't do their thing, can't travel, can't compete, can't register for bonspiels without the great support of their sponsors as well.
Absolutely, and also just give a big thanks for the sponsors of this tournament. Of course, title sponsor Papa John's for supporting young curlers in the province of New Brunswick, Bob Lee Productions, Modern Construction, Shoppers Drug Mart, and of course Bell Light TV1 for the coverage over the course of the weekend of the under 21 Papa John's curling championships here at Curl Moncton. Beautiful facility here in the greater Moncton area, and as well, if you look at just outside here, they are doing big renovations to make massive upgrades here at Curl Moncton over the next few years.
Absolutely, that's expansion. If you haven't been down to the Lockhart Avenue neighborhood in the past month or so, you'd be surprised to see the steel structure of the roof for the additional 5 sheets is up with the goal, with the plan of being ready for the start of the next curling season in fall of 2018. You see Declan Johnson here calling to have a very wide opponent corner guard that you'll see come into play here now, and a yellow rock at the back of the house. So looking to tuck a little bit behind that blue and take advantage of that backing and hopefully coax a jam out of Team MacCabe here and set up their 2 that they could certainly use here with a score 3-0 for MacCabe. No surprise, MacCabe going to make a play on that yellow stone that you see there to the left of your screen as you're watching at home.
There is some separation, so there is room to maneuver for Jack Smeltzer to get that stone out of the house.
Absolutely, the jam shouldn't come into play, and Jack's a 19-year-old UNB student, and That surprises me to read that 19 because I've known Jack and showed it to Jack's dad. Freddie, if you're watching, Jack's playing really well this evening. I should mention in Jack's bio here any other information he would like to share. Jack would like to share that he's single.
Aha.
Good looking shot here. Going to make contact, avoid the jam. Shooter's probably going to roll out. Even Preasley with the decision and option to perhaps play the same rock. Opting instead to move away from the very wide guard and move away from the backing and draw to the open side. Perhaps just to change up the angle and give MacCabe a different look.
Second shot for Declan Johnson. Wide open house, so he can pick and choose wherever he wants to go here.
Yeah, and the call is to go wide on this one. Declan also curling out of Florenceville Curling Club, a New Brunswick under 15 mixed champion in the 2016, 2017 curling season. So you see that rock just coming short, leaving Team MacCabe with Jack Smeltzer on the call to put a rock top 4 and force the play here into Team Preasley's hand. Rock top 4 here will give Preasley the option to hit and try to coax a roll under those either of those really wide guards that you see coming into play here now. But first order of business here for Team MacCabe and Skip Leighton MacCabe is to get this in top 4, top 8. Top 4 was the call. With MacCabe brothers on the brush.
Down that center line. Just a bit to the left.
Yep, just coming to rest. Top 12, a little bite on the 8 foot, but I think they're calling for a nose hit on this. Again, with the advantage of 2 stones to 1 here, with Alex Preasley's first of the third end. If he hits this on the nose, Roger, he'll still be in the rings, and then potential nose hit by MacCabe would then be out of the rings and would give him the opportunity to blank and carry the hammer in and try to score multiple points. Next time around, Alex Preasley, 16-year-old Capital Winter Club member again with 10 years curling out of his 16 years and another under 15 former provincial mixed champion in 2015. So see a nice shot there.
Nose hit.
Looking at the overhead as we are and were on that, it's I would say definitely he's a nose hit keeps him in the rings. But a nose hit would leave for a reasonably easy shot at a blank. If MacCabe here with Skip Leighton MacCabe on the throw, he can coax a little roll over behind that guard you see on the left-hand side that will make life difficult. He's got the roll, but just a little bit too far. Among the easier blanks you're going to have to throw if you're Alex.
Just go for board weight and we'll be good to go.
However, they are sizing up the potential for a split here. He's still thinking 2. He has 1 rock to play with that rock very wide on the sheet. Not a whole lot to play with. The best option here would be to throw enough weight that if he doesn't make contact perfectly, that his shooter does go out and he does get the blank. And here's where experience, not just in knowing what you want the result to be, but knowing what weight to throw at this, knowing what.
Could this be an opportunity to have their coach call a timeout here and say, wait a minute here, although you're trailing 3-0, go for the blank, and you still have the hammer and you even end.
It could be, but I would think they'll save their timeouts, and each team again gets 2 timeouts in this provincial play. They'll probably save their timeouts for an opportunity when things are a little more complicated as far as number of rocks in play. For this, it's a combination of speed and line and the angle that you hit that rock that is going to very shortly come into view here. You can see that rock on the just outside top 12 is the rock that they're attempting to split. You have to hit this almost on the nose to drive it back and to score. And he's going to make contact, but not enough to roll his shooter in. The hit rock does roll in, so he got the first part of that equation down. However, just to score 1, he was certainly trying to score 2 there. And so 3-1 after 3 in hammer.
Team Preasley does get their first point of the game. They are on the board, but they do trail 3-1. Now you've got Team MacCabe holding the hammer in an even end. So so MacCabe could look at this and take full advantage of that and try and score a deuce to try to extend that lead. Just quick updates on what is going on other sheets. On sheet 8, Team Lewis and Team Donovan. Team Donovan got a single point in the third. It is all tied up at 1. And on sheet 7, Team Marin got a deuce in the third end, and they lead 3-0.
First rock of the end underway here with and Preasley without the advantage of last rock, calling the center line guard. Jack Smeltzer with the call in the house tonight for Team MacCabe, calling for a rock into play. They're going to come top 12, and absolutely, Roger, you're right. If a score of 2 here for MacCabe takes us potentially from a 3-1 to a 5-1 game. A very comfortable lead that would be. So I would strongly suspect during the break that Team MacCabe talked about the strategy and the tactics they're going to use to score 2 here. This rock coming to rest looks like it's going to slip just a little bit behind the tee line. Back 4.
So this is a bit of an interesting strategy that Team MacCabe are currently using. Going into the house with their first stone, usually if you want to attempt to get that deuce, wouldn't you like to see more guards being put up right from the get-go?
Certainly a great way to score a couple is with some guards. They may have seen something here with Team Preasley that they're looking to take advantage of by bringing rocks into play. You see Anson Baird Green here again, and just going through Anson's bio, a really nice thought on his curling inspiration. It says his curling inspiration, his grandfather, Paul Green, who many in the curling community would remember as the coach of the Andrea Kelly team that he accompanied, took to the World Junior Championships. I remember being at the Canadian Championships when we hosted them in Fredericton, and the place was electric the year that Andrea Kelly won that national championship in her home province and her adopted hometown of Fredericton at the time. See the play now is behind the tee line with a MacCabe and then a Preasley stone, and Team MacCabe here.
Look, freeze onto that yellow stone.
There's a tap to the back here, and a collection of rocks here now on center line with a center line guard and 3 rocks button back 4 and back 12 on the center line. It looks like things are going to get busy fairly quickly here in the rings in the forefoot area. Rocks essentially acting as guards on themselves as they stagger in here. Let's see what this rock's going to hit, just a little bit on the high side and chip that blue stone out. Nice, really nice touch shot. Touch shot there from James Larley. Team MacCabe, Jack Smeltzer on the call, looking to continue to put pressure on here and bringing all that play around that tight Preasley guard, the yellow guard that you'll see come into play. That's just a couple feet off of the rings.
Leighton MacCabe now throwing 7 stones, and he's going to bring that one into the house as well. Add some more stones to the party. So that one just taps that yellow stone. So his rock does lie shot. It's just biting the button in the back of the tee line.
And that rock sliding just a little deeper than he wanted to, Roger. The opportunity now for Preasley to put the pressure on, and if he's able to draw down, freeze to this, he'll have backing in the blue and then the yellow, and behind a yellow guard that is again taped to the rings that you're going to see right now coming into play.
Marley just brings that one in, and he does freeze, and he has some backing, so that's a nice shot.
That's a fantastic shot. I don't know what Brian Rice, we're going to shout out to Brian here doing the stats here. Brian gives that a 4 out of 4. Brian, the former school teacher, not giving away marks here tonight either, so that's a well-earned 4 out of 4. Speaking of stats, we do have some stats here to share at the end of 3 as we play the 4th of these stats through 3 ends complete. Team MacCabe as a team at 78% with the skip Leighton MacCabe, the high mark on this team at 85%. Team Preasley at 60% with skip Alex Preasley at a nice 71%, leading his. Oh, I missed one here. There's James Larley leading the team at 83% with Alex Preasley at 71%. So 3-1 game. The team percentage is 78 to 60. So Preasley has been making the shots when they count, and no surprise with Alex Preasley at 71%, keeping his team in the game. See the house here building up as we saw early in the end, and Alex Preasley calling for another rock here into the 4-foot.
Declan Johnson.
Brusher's not touching this yet.
This one here's light.
Oh, nice guard, fantastic shot.
That's a nice option B.
Absolutely. That you see Jack Smeltzer didn't hesitate in going up there and looking to clean up a little bit. They'll look to get a couple of rocks moving here. You see closest center line, 2 yellow rocks that, in addition to being guards, are the opponent's rocks. So if you were to run back rocks later in the end, you'd prefer to be running back your own rocks, and Jack will try to get these moving. Having played here at Carl Moncton for a number of years myself, and played against the MacCabe brothers, knowing that if they have an opportunity to play a run back, certainly on their own rocks, with that, these guys aren't shy on speed. Great looking shot there. Really shot by Jack Smeltzer to both clean up the front, those 2 yellow guards that were skirting either side of the center line, and removing a little bit of the backing, even though it was his own rock. That back 4-foot rock that was there a moment ago wasn't doing them a whole lot of favors now.
Yeah, but now if you look at the situation now that's in the house, the rock that is in the button has no backing. It has some backing, but there's a lot of flexibility for Team MacCabe to get that one out.
For Preasley, it'll be guard,
and more
guard. Will be the plan here, and for Team MacCabe, it will be to keep that center line as clean as possible, and leave themselves an option or 2 with Skip Leighton MacCabe's final stones. Jack Smeltzer still has one more here to come as we play the 4th end of a 3-1 game here at Carl Moncton. And a reminder again that we're deep enough into the event now. It's only day 2, but this is must win.
It is a must-win situation for Team Preasley and Team MacCabe, as they are currently 0-2 in a triple knockout bonspiel. So the basic situation is you win, you move on, you lose, you go home with 3 losses. So the way that it was also put up together, that if You lose once, you fall down to the second bracket, you can move on, and then if you lose again, you go down to the third bracket, which gives you the opportunity to still go on to championship Sunday.
You see Jack Smeltzer here with the delivery, and the previous guard from Team Preasley just over curling enough to leave Team MacCabe and Jack Smeltzer a little bit of room to come around and make a play on that rock. There has been pretty consistently about 4 feet of curl here today, and that just back 4, back 8 foot weight. A lovely shot there by Jack Smeltzer.
Nice little tap back to hold to get shot stone. So now looking at Alex Preasley, he wants to get that yellow stone out of the top 4.
Well, he has an option here to to say a shot is impossible is rarely true, but the opportunity here is he's got a couple of options. He can come around. We just saw from the last Smeltzer rock that there's enough room around that guard to come in and make contact. So we can make contact on that blue stone that you'll see come into play. It's a blue stone, just top button, and chip that over to the side. If his weight and line are not so to make that, he does have the opportunity to grab a piece of the button and potentially be shot stone. Grab a piece of the button, and even if he's not shot stone, force Team MacCabe to 1, and then regain the hammer and carry hammer into the next end. See the brushers on this. There is plenty of room.
Preasley giving the sign,
yelling whoa.
Yelling out whoa. Okay, telling the brushers to lay back, a little tap back, and is it enough?
Lovely shot. We're going to look here if our overhead shot might not give us the perfect angle on this to tell. Trying to look at the near side of the Preasley stone, that yellow stone. My guess would be that Preasley is shot.
Discussion.
Yeah, they're going to make a play on that thrown rock that was just thrown by Preasley. The rock is mostly exposed. It's as you look at it, it's as curlers would be familiar with, kind of saying it's edge on edge with the guard, which does give him certainly opportunity to get around the guard that's just in the 2 position. As a high guard, lots of room to come around that with a little more weight than he just threw. Last stone was that we saw Jack Smeltzer throw was kind of back 4, back 8 weight. He'll probably be looking to kind of curl over the face of this rock that you're going to see come into play here momentarily. So nothing from the sweepers.
Final shot here for Leighton MacCabe.
One more to come after this from MacCabe.
Sorry,
MacCabe
shot
hammer.
stones now for.
Going to skips rocks.
Winston. Now a little tap back. So now we got a lot of stones inside of that house, but it looks like that Team MacCabe is currently line 1.
Yep, they are. The rock that you see just almost full 4 foot, back 4 foot to the right of your screen is shot. There's a pair of yellow Preasley stones, one that's in view, one that we can't quite see right yet. As well, that our second and third shot, the thrown rock that you see those coming into play now. The thrown rock just top 8 foot, just a little bite of the 4 foot, acting essentially as a guard for Team MacCabe here, forcing Preasley. Any play on that top blue stone is not going to do a whole lot of good for Preasley at this point, and looking to call a shot, or they have called a shot, looking to draw in to catch full 4 foot and outcount the blue counter, the MacCabe stone that we were referencing just a minute ago, Roger, and try to put the pressure on. If he puts this tee line full 4 foot, he'll probably have a little bit exposed, but it'll be the open side, the high side, which will probably result in a jam if MacCabe were to make a play on it. So really key shot here.
So first shot for Alex Preasley.
Here's an example of us not having the benefit of being able to hear the players as we're upstairs here at Curl Moncton, not being able to hear the call and just going based on some body language with that. They were calling the guard essentially happy to force Team MacCabe to one with that one counter and throwing a guard up, but that guard over curling, as you see the rock that is top 8 foot just off the left-hand side of center is though only half open with the nice amount of curl we have here this week at Curl Moncton. With a T-line weight shot, they don't have to move this rock very far to need to move it essentially one rock width. As you see, sweepers dropping off this. Nothing yet from Jack Smeltzer, but that rock's starting to move. Looking like the line is good. As long as they don't tap theirs too far back, and it appears as though Team Preasley was eyeballing that, and I am judging based on the really quick call that MacCabe stone just with a little bit too much speed on it. Did a couple of things, which on contact pushed what was their shot stone too far back and no longer counting, and because of that little extra speed, didn't quite curl as much, didn't quite get up to nose and tap it towards the button as they were looking for. So until they put the score up, we won't know for sure, but I think it was 1 for MacCabe, which would make it a 4-1 game, and for Preasley, essentially that would be mission accomplished on the force and get Hammer back. We're talking about as this end was underway, a score of 2 going to 5-1, but instead it's 4-1, and now if you're Preasley, you have Hammer. If you're Preasley, you're thinking if I score 2 here, it's 4-3.
4-3 going into the 5-end break. That's certainly a big thing for Preasley in a must-win situation. For MacCabe, you wanted that double when you had the Hammer, and you just couldn't capitalize. First shot here by Winston MacCabe. It looks like that it goes long,
yep.
And it does.
The call was top 12, top 8 on that stone. You saw that stone drip through, so a slight advantage now to Preasley. They can implement their strategy for 2 without being concerned with a blue MacCabe rock being in play.
Quick updates on other sheets. On sheet 8, Team Lewis got their deuce in the 4th end. They lead 3-1 against Team Donovan, while on the 4th end, a blank in the 4th, with Team Marin leading Team Tracy 2-0.
Oh, pair of mistakes to open this. Pair of mistakes to open this 4th end. You saw that hogged stone coming short of the tee line and not making it essentially into play. And so a reset here, but as opposed to 8 rocks per team, we're down to 7 rocks per team with a blank sheet. A chance for Team MacCabe bring the play into the house again, and we'll see what Preasley does here. If they make a play on this MacCabe rock, if they make a play to freeze to it, to move it around, or if they completely ignore it and opt to throw up a guard. Nice rock there, better speed. Ignoring that, calling for the guard.
So second shot for Ansel Green. So Anson Green, his second shot, he'll go for the corner guard.
It's better rock. And you see Jack Smeltzer now calling for a guard on that stone that they have now. Top 8, top 4. Without the benefit of last rock. Going for a rock. Look like they're opting now with that speed. We're going to be in the house for sure. Over We're curling off of center. They were looking to line up those two stones, overlap them a little bit, but bottom line is 2 blue MacCabe rocks in play, giving Preasley here the opportunity to play a little hit and roll off of that, the last thrown rock. See James Larley here sizing things up. And we're down this. This is a spot that we've seen already a couple of times in this game, Roger, where the teams have been not quite sure where to put the broom. We've seen a couple of rocks over curl. So we're going to see another rock over curl here as well. Speed was good.
So it's about 10, just a bit over 10 seconds from hog line to hog line. So you can see that the ice is still very fast here in the 5th end. And and also going towards the far end. Both teams are having a hard time adjusting to the ice going to the far end, but coming towards us, they find that the ice is a little bit easier to play with.
There's a line there. There's a spot there along that 4-foot line that has caught them a few times going in this, playing on what is the right-hand side of the sheet, going in that direction away from us, Roger. Yes, moving along pretty quickly. We're at Jack Smeltzer's first stone of the end already. It's nothing from the brusher.
Just keeping a close eye on it. That's Winston MacCabe. And as Winston MacCabe in the house. Leighton MacCabe keeping an eye on. So as being a rotation of 3, you don't see that typical skip staying in the house and the other 2 that are brushing. As you can see that they're all taking their turns, they're all rotating to kind of.
There's a lot of moving parts on this MacCabe team with only 3, and with Jack Smeltzer throwing the 4th, 5th, and 6th rocks of the end. But he's calling the game on the. There's a nice shot. So that leaves the Preasley stone in front of the blue MacCabe stone. So MacCabe and Jack Smeltzer with the upcoming throw having to be a little cautious of what they do here, and again with a 4-1 lead. The curling adage being when you're up, especially a 4-1 game, you're not going to be too cute, be too quiet with any speed. So I would making sure that they make some rocks go away, get rid of that Preasley stone with the benefit of not having to hold the shooter.
Had a lot behind it.
Yep, he's going to catch a piece of
that.
Just
enough.
Nice throw.
Good weight behind it.
Third Declan Johnson now being asked for a little input on strategy as well. The option to do something, make a play on that blue MacCabe stone that is in the ring's top 4 that'll come into your sight here shortly. But they're opting to use the guard. They want to score 2 here, Roger.
And this is the opportunity for Team Preasley to do it. You want to go into that. It's a great opportunity for this young team to try a trail by 1 going into the 5th end break.
Yeah, they'd be really happy here.
So Declan Johnson's shot in the house. Remove the blue stone, so they lie 1.
Opting there instead. Again, the ice they had down, and the skip had motion for potential for a draw around there, but they opted to play that hit, and now we'll see Jack Smeltzer with his second of this 5th end. We'll call it a fairly wide open sheet, a very wide guard, a yellow Preasley stone that you'll see come into play here shortly.
Jack Smeltzer's shot. Looking to just exchange colored stones inside the house.
Gonna hit that just off nose and roll a little bit behind that cover, not quite buried, but opportunity now to Team Preasley would have had a couple of options here to freeze to that rock. We've opted instead to play a hit on Declan Johnson's out turn. Play a little hit this on the high side and roll behind that yellow guard that you are just about to see come into play. There it is.
So second stone for Declan Johnston.
And again, down that spot that's in the neighborhood of the 4 foot, 8 foot line. This rock over curling on them, and
yeah, but it just got enough of that rock to take it out. So the house is now clean.
Absolutely lost his shooter on that.
So down to skip stones here in the 5th.
Skip Leighton MacCabe. As you watch the delivery, as we talked about on the last broadcast that I was on, the junior players are so well coached, and a shout out to not just the coaches of these two teams, but all the coaches for all the teams, and not just here this weekend, but all the coaches across the province that are putting the time in on the technical aspect of the delivery and the strategy for these young athletes. The technical side is fantastic. So that blue MacCabe rock coming to rest, top 8. Alex Preasley is making his way down the ice for his first of 2 in this 5th end. Wide open house, as you mentioned a moment ago, Roger. So it's a long roll behind that lone wide yellow guard that Team Preasley has there. They do have the advantage now, 2 rocks to 1. A score of 2 still in their mind, although from a tactical perspective, it's going to be rather difficult to score 2 here.
It'll be very difficult here. They would have to get a really good roll to try to hide behind their corner guard, and they will get the hit. They will roll towards that direction, but certainly not enough, and that gives the opportunity here for Team MacCabe.
Yeah, and if you weren't going to roll completely over cover, you almost wanted to roll away, because what you've done is you've slightly inched that stone a little closer to that guard, making it a shorter roll now for Team MacCabe, as we see Leighton MacCabe with his final stone of this 5th end, and he would love to get a little roll under that yellow guard that you see in play now, and that would force Alex Preasley to contemplate a tough shot for a blank or to take one, but as it is, wide open.
So here Preasley will be getting ready for his final shot, even though that he would be, if there's that big possibility that he's thinking about blanking the end. Although you're trailing by 3 going into the 5th end break, you still hold hammer in the 6th. It is a even number end. That's always a big plus. But the more that you watch Preasley curl and play over the course of this game, we've talked about this being a young team. You can throw the youth out of the window now. They're playing like a veteran squad now over the last 3 ends.
I think he's going to want to. I think he's going to want to blank here, maintain that last rock advantage. The score might feel better at 4-2, but you're going to have a better conversation at the break with your coach. With hammer, you'll be able to dictate strategy, dictate the game a little bit in the 6th end with that last rock advantage. You see this rock coming up to nose, however, and it's going to be a score of 1. Take this to a 4-2 game at our 5th end break. And Roger, before we go to break, why don't you run down the other sheets here?
So just a quick update on sheet number 8. Team Lewis leading 4-1 against Team Donovan. They are still in the 5th end. They are on shot stones. They are on skip stones. Team Tracy, Team Marin, they are on their 5th end break. And Team Marin, and they are just about to start end number 6. Team Marin is currently leading 2-0 against Team Tracy. And we're going to take a short break here on our feature game on sheet number 9. Team Leighton MacCabe is leading 4-2 against Team Alex Preasley. And you are watching the Papa John's Under 21 Curling Championships here at Curl Moncton on 5TV1, powered by Bellline. Back here at Curl Moncton for our feature game here on Sheet 9 of the Papa John's 21 and Under Curling Championships on 5TV1, powered by Bell Alliant. Roger Surratt calling the play-by-play. Andy Peterson to my left doing a color, doing a fantastic job here tonight and all weekend long here on 5TV1. And Andy, if we talk about the first 5 events, we've talked about Alex Preasley, we talked about the lack of experience being a very young team, but they've shown over the last 3 ends that they can hold their fort against a very good team in Team MacCabe, and this is a must-win situation for both of these squads.
Absolutely. I have some stats in my hand again here, with thanks to Brian Rice on the stats here with us this evening. Team Preasley, as you mentioned, inching their game up a little bit. 67%, which is up from 60 at the last stat we had after 3. Team MacCabe pretty consistent. 78 was our last report on stat at 77% as a team through 5 with Skip Leighton MacCabe at 75%. And as far as Team Preasley goes, notable stats here. Second, James Larley at 85%, still continuing to throw a really solid game, and Alex Preasley at 72%.
So just for those who have just joined us here for our feature game, Team Leighton MacCabe still won in first, second. Alex Preasley got on the board in the third. MacCabe got one in the fourth, and Preasley got a single in the fifth to get our score at 4-2 after 5 ends. And quick updates on other sheets. They've just gone into the fifth end break on sheet 8, where Team Donovan, Team Michael Donovan from
Curl Moncton,
they've got their deuce to tie the game up at 3 in the fifth end break. That end was a long end, as each team took a timeout during the fifth end. So just to make sure that they got things right. And on sheet 7, the one that has bonus coverage, Team Liam Marin currently leading 2-1 against Team Adam Tracy from the Capital Winter Club, as Team Tracy got a single point in the fifth end.
We're underway here now in the sixth end of our feature game. Team MacCabe and Team Preasley. I would say at the fifth end break, Coach John Peters from the Preasley team having a little chat with the guys and their strategy coming out. They threw up a couple of centerline guards. You see a couple of yellow guards out just tight to the rings there. A MacCabe, a blue MacCabe stone, just about half in top 12, and another blue MacCabe stone back 12. So lots of room here for Preasley. The 4-foot, the 8-foot essentially, but the 4-foot is wide open. Lots of cover out there. Lots of curl on this ice as well. This weekend here, the ice makers, the ice technicians, doing a great job on this playing surface for these athletes. You see the brushers not putting a lick to this.
As this one here looks like it's going to go long and heavy outside the house, and that's an opportunity here for Team MacCabe.
Missed opportunity for Team Preasley certainly on this. Speaking of time, as you were just at the fifth end break to update, as you may know, and if not, we'll tell you. Each team gets 38 minutes of thinking time on this, in addition to two timeouts. At the fifth end break, Team MacCabe with 23 minutes, but 23 and a half minutes remaining, so more than half of their allotted thinking time, with 2 timeouts also still in their back pocket. And Team Preasley at 21 minutes remaining, and still 2 timeouts. So they have lots of time. They don't have to feel rushed. They can mix this up, especially if you're Team Preasley. You want to see some rocks in play. You want some guards out there. You want to move some rocks around. You're probably going to be playing quieter weight shots, although with the thinking time, the speed of the throw doesn't come into play. Once the rock is released, thinking time is done. They'll be playing quieter weight shots and perhaps doing a little more thinking.
So second shot by Larley brings the blue stone to the edge of the back 12.
And so you see Jack Smeltzer with the call on this, and then sliding his way back to the hack end. They're going to look to take a couple of those yellow Preasley stones off of center line, and just off of center line, open things up a little bit. They do have 3 rocks in the rings, 3 blue MacCabe rocks in the rings, all around the 12-foot, top 12 and back 12, with if these two yellow guards are gone after this Smeltzer stone, that'll be a lonely yellow rock. This rock going to just make contact in there, though not removing either one of those yellow rocks. Certainly moving them around a lot, taking one essentially out of play to the wide side.
didn't look like it got the curl that Jack Smeltzer was looking for, and this opens the door here for Team Alex Preasley as Declan Johnston is getting ready to throw his first stone here in the 6th end. As Team Johnston is currently lying 1, they're the only stone that's in the 4-foot. They can certainly try and protect that one to assure that they could possibly steal a single point.
Yep, I would expect after the break, chat with Coach Peters, said, if you can steal here, guys, that's the plan, and don't give up a big score. So if you see that the steal potential isn't going well, to bail early. But they're well in it. They have a very tight guard, and you see another guard just in the 3 position. Jack Smeltzer not taking any time, sliding by that rock, putting the broom down, indicating a peel. And if he can get those 2 yellow rocks moving again, once again, that would leave a very lonely yellow Preasley stone, shot as it is, but the only one of rocks in the house against 3 MacCabe counters at the moment. Jack Smeltzer.
Jack Smeltzer here with his shot. He's got some good weight, good speed down the line, and he'll get one of the yellow stones out. Nose
Again,
hit.
doesn't get everything out of play. So another rock that didn't curl up quite as much as he needed it to in order to make the double peel. You see Preasley again with 3rd Declan Johnson calling another guard. Declan Johnson, right-hander with his out turn. Calling for another guard for Preasley. It will be guard, protect, and do your best to steal with.
So this one has definite weight.
Nice shot.
So this one is a little bit further up than it was on the previous shot by Johnston.
Yep, and that covers almost all of the outside of the Preasley rock that you see now, just top about the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock-ish position in the 4-foot. Once again with a peel attempt coming out of the hand of Jack Smeltzer. Smeltzer settles in. Good leg kick on a peel weight shot.
Yeah, you can see that just now.
That needs to curl up a little bit.
Takes out his own stone in the process. Not what Smeltzer was looking for.
No, a couple of half results here for Team MacCabe here in this end, and Preasley with an opportunity now to really put some pressure on Team MacCabe. Another guard here will go a long way to doing that, and he's going to look at protecting first and foremost the rock that's in the 4-foot. Not much of a double opportunity right now, as we see from here from our vantage point. As you see right now on those 2 stones that are in the house, you need to hit the high side of that rock that's closest to you as you're watching at home. But that blue guard comes into play, and tough to get to the outside. He'd need nose, which is there. But again, we've seen that line along that 4-foot line confuse and confound a few shots here. So they may be not sure. So I would say Team Preasley is going to try to protect closer to the center line side of their 2 stones that are in play. This rock with enough speed this rock is drifting into the house. It's going to be tapping. Right now, the line caller, the key for this line caller now in the house with Anson Green is to determine exactly what to do. There is a triple here. There is a triple here with that rock sliding a little too deep into the house, and
there is a lot of clutter on that top 12, top 8.
There's a triple here to essentially come around that collection if they so choose. Lake MacCabe certainly capable of throwing the up weight to make a lot of granite move. they're looking at it. They're not running right up to jump on the potential of that triple. They're trying to decide, Roger, which of these rocks to hit first. Where do you want to leave your shooter? They do have last rock here, and a couple of counters now back house, as you see behind Jack Smeltzer. Jack indicating now which way do you roll, what do you do here. So that is going to determine what they make contact on first.
So there is plenty of time on the clock, so they can certainly take this discussion, or that they can take the opportunity and use one of their 2 timeouts, but they're very comfortable with what they want to use for do for their shot.
Yeah, and it's again, without the benefit of hearing the call, where the broom is placed, he could essentially be throwing either the in-turn or the out-turn at this rock. I'm going to suggest that he's probably looking to make contact on that rock that's closest to you at home, as you were watching there, which would be the out-turn for Leighton MacCabe, and that is what we're getting, and as promised, we're getting a little bit of speed on this, and
pike and taps 3 of them. 2 of the yellow stones go out of the house,
and that might have been what we saw Jack Smeltzer motioning to his left and your left as you're watching here. He was motioning that perhaps that you were going to get that yellow rock to kick sideways and be under that guard, and although not completely covered, it is a little bit of it tucked behind, a dear little bit of it tucked behind the yellow guard, as you see there on your left as you're watching at home. And the MacCabe stone that was just thrown is wide open. So for Alex Preasley here, it's not just let's hit this, but let's hit it, and where are we going to roll? What are we going to do? How do we potentially generate a steal out of this? Option being generate a steal out of this, or force MacCabe to 1. MacCabe with last rock here as we play 6.
So could you see Team Preasley trying to split the rings here, try to get as much separation as they can, so that forces MacCabe's hand to draw for a single?
Absolutely. Their going to want to stay away from any possible double. If they knows this, their thrown rock will be just a little higher than the other Preasley stone that's in the rings. Will set up a double, so they want to roll away. You're bang on with that, Roger. They want to roll away, and if they do roll away, they'll be under cover as well. So they'll accomplish a couple of things rolling away, and they have to make sure with this swingy ice, with the curl in this ice, that they don't miss the sweep call and wait too late for it. And that is what's happened.
They got the nose hit, but now, if you look at what Team MacCabe here has, a few options. If they're looking for their double.
Their option here is a double to score 3. Last rock here for Skip Leighton MacCabe. See Jack Smeltzer there in the rings. He'll be calling line on this. They want to hit essentially half a rock just off the inside of the nose of that stone. Make another. You can't see there, Declan Johnson. There is a yellow rock in play that's top 8 foot, just behind Declan a minute ago.
So final stone.
Here's Leighton MacCabe
here in the 6th end.
Throwing a lot of weight at this.
Possible double here for Team MacCabe, and they can score big. They get 1, and they can only
steal of 1.
They can only get 1 of them, so it is a steal of 1 for Team Preasley, and that gap is now narrowed to a single point for 3. And Team MacCabe still holds hammer, but you can feel the momentum going onto Team Preasley's side.
Some well-placed rocks in that end from Team Preasley, and that made all the difference. They forced the MacCabe team hand on a couple of occasions, and while MacCabe made some good shots, they didn't make the great shots to get out of that. They had the potential there with that last rock at the end to make the double, to score 3. And what you can't, if you're Team MacCabe, what you can't let happen there is to let it get you. You have to park that. Opportunity there, absolutely, to score 3. A 4-point swing from a potential 3 to a steal of 1, yes. But there's 4 ends. There's 4 ends left. and you do have hammer, and you do have the lead, and you have to remember that. And that might be if they get into a situation in this end where they call timeout. Their coach may come out and talk less about strategy and more about the fact that you guys are still leading. You still have hammer. There's still lots of this game to play, and you're at least percentage-wise, as we've seen, you are at least statistically out curling your opponent. So don't let yourself get down when you figure you're beat. You're beat.
So just quick updates on other sheets on our bonus feature on sheet 7. They are currently in the 7th end where Team Adam Tracy stole a point in the 6th to tie the game at 2. Team Liam Marin still holds the hammer in that 7th end. And while on sheet number 8, they are still in the 6th end. They are currently on the final stone. We will give you an update once they've got the score up. As of right now, it is currently 3-3 between Team Michael Donovan and Team Cody Lewis.
And further to those games that are on the sheets, not our feature game this evening. Both Tracy and Lewis with only one loss, so this isn't quite the dire straits that we have in our feature game. And Marine and Donovan both undefeated at this point, and certainly the goal for those two is to remain so, playing this triple knockout. If you can keep all those losses in your pocket, and ultimately what could happen as we move into Sunday in the championship is you could potentially have a team needing to be defeated 2 or 3 times on Sunday afternoon and evening for another team to come away as provincial champion. And speaking of provincial champions, what all the teams here are playing for the end of this week and this weekend, it's a chance to represent New Brunswick at the 2018 New Holland Canadian Junior Championships, which are in early January 13th to 21st in Shawinigan, Quebec. And as we've noted on previous broadcasts, all the provincial competitions, not just here in New Brunswick, but across the country, a little earlier than they would normally be. On essentially 3 out of every 4 years, it's an Olympic year, which means the Olympics come into play, which is going to be some really great curling. But what it means is the provincial championships need to happen a little sooner and such with that, and so the provincial championships are happening a little sooner than they normally would for these teams.
Because usually the under 21 championships would happen in between Christmas and New Year's.
Yes, typically.
Kind of like so it would be like the Christmas tradition. Right after Christmas, you would have those few days that you would have so you would have that championships. But because of the Olympic year, which in 2018 the Olympics are in Pyeongchang in South Korea, we also got the War of the Rings that are about to start. Probably one of the toughest entries around the world if you want to represent your country, as we know here in Canada. We've got some great teams that will be vying for one spot to represent Canada at the Olympics.
Great shot there by Winston MacCabe on a double peel. Does leave his shooter out front, and you see Alex Preasley now very quick to call the come around. You see James Larley here, the lefty with his out turn to Barry, looking to take advantage of that blue MacCabe rock that you see coming into play there just off the rings. Great looking shot, just sneaking by that guard.
That's a nice shot.
That's a fantastic shot.
He'll be biting the tee line.
Great curling shot. We're going to give that a 4 out of 4 out of here. I don't know what Brian gave that, but thumbs up from Brian Rice, our statistician here.
I'm going to say that's dead buried.
So you see, again, with yellow coming behind the blue MacCabe stone, does give Team MacCabe the opportunity to run their own blue rock back into that yellow. It'll be Jack Smeltzer with the throw on this. Again, it's a spot on this sheet of the ice going this direction where we've seen some rocks over curl on teams, but with this speed, little gentle brush there. Lake MacCabe He's just going to get the straight peel. The rock run back just missing that that yellow Preasley stone. And Preasley now 2 rocks in play, one back 12, another rock top 4.
Preasley's going to certainly
Calling for the guard.
put up as many guards as he possibly can and force MacCabe to peel.
Declan Johnson. Nothing yet from the brushers. A little clean.
Now the brushers get on it hard.
Yeah, when the ice like this, great playing surface. When the weight starts to come down, the brushers can have an impact as far as direction and position of those stones. And you see, it's covered the inside of that rock, which takes away any double potential on that rock at the back. But they're not going to be enticed into playing around that guard to the Preasley stone that is top 4. The call there is to peel. Hit it just right, you'll roll your blue shooter away, and certainly they'd love to make contact with that yellow Preasley stone that is top 4. There's Jack Smeltzer.
So quick update on sheet 8. As Team Lewis got a single point in the 6th to now hold a 4-3 lead. Smeltzer's shot. He'll run that one back and
great
get
shot.
The rock in the 4-foot out. Beautiful shot. Keeps the shooter as a corner guard. So now he's established corner guards on both ends.
2 corner guards and 2 corner guards and last rock. That's the start of a good recipe for a multiple score here for MacCabe, and they'd certainly like to score at least 2 here and not just extend the lead, but take that momentum back that we've seen Team Preasley with a couple of scores here late, and a couple of steals to narrow it to 4-3. Line looks really nice on this. Speed is coming down. You see Alex Preasley in the rings. Rock sliding slightly, but only slightly deeper than they would like, but deep enough that gives Team MacCabe with another rock from Jack Smeltzer to come to essentially follow them down, take advantage of their own blue guard, take advantage of the yellow backing.
So here could you see a possible freeze coming out from Smeltzer?
Absolutely.
Using those 2 rocks, try to tuck that one in, making sure that it's going to be very difficult.
That is exactly what Jack is thinking right now, is freeze.
I haven't seen a lot of freeze weight here in this game, so let's see how Smeltzer can make that adjustment. This would be his first opportunity to use a freeze weight.
He's looking for T-line weight here. Nothing from the sweepers. That is one of the concerns sometimes when you have backing, is to overthrow it. But great shot there by Jack Smeltzer to get buried completely behind. There's a blue guard that will come into view here, right there. You see the blue guard, the blue MacCabe stone, sitting T-line 8 foot, completely buried, with yellow backing behind it. Things are setting up very nicely here for Team MacCabe with hammer, with last rock, here as they play 7th end.
Skip stones coming up. Alex Preasley making the call, looking to put enough weight to jam and remove as many stones as he can on that side, and try to get his shooter to roll to the left side.
He'll be playing a quiet weight shot here, both because of the guard that's out front. He'll need to navigate his way around that guard, and with the rocks in play that he has, he doesn't have really any option on anything with an up weight shot, and he'll want to essentially stay on top of that blue stone and out-count it again, and we'll have a bit of a race to the button.
So
playing around that guard.
First stone for Alex Preasley.
Sweeper's on it. That guard is coming on him really quickly on that, and
he's going to wreck off the guard and keep the shooter in.
Declan Johnson there coaxing that throwing rock over as close to center line as he can to take that away from any kind of cover on blue. But here we have a situation. Team MacCabe's counting 1, blue on the right-hand side of the rings as we look at it here from our broadcast perch. And Jack Smeltzer now calling for Skip Leighton MacCabe to draw in around the blue guard on the opposite side, split the rings. Again, with that recipe to score 2 and with a 4-3 lead, take that to 6-3. This rock isn't moving a whole lot, which
not getting the curl that they're looking for, and this one's going to go straight, and it looks like it'll be heavy. Sweepers get on it hard in the back, but just bites the back 12.
And that's this is very weight sensitive ice. It's a weight sensitive playing surface, which is fantastic, which is great for this championship to have this. But that little extra weight, an extra 4, 5, 6 feet of weight, completely took the brushers out of it, and the opportunity to get around that guard was missed. So that leaves Alex Preasley as he faces 1. MacCabe with shot stone, but Team Preasley with 2nd and 3rd. However, you have to be very cautious of jamming that blue stone back onto your own yellow backing if you're Alex Preasley. Team Preasley now calling timeout. So this is why they have them. This is why they save them. This is why and the coaches will come out and they'll talk about the options. Team Preasley has been playing well here these last couple of ends.
Calling the timeout for Team Preasley. They're going to be talking a definite strategy on where to place this rock for their final shot in the 7th end.
Absolutely. The first call was to play something with hit weight. They may be looking at something a little quieter here. To say this is a make or break end might not be so. We're only in the 7th, and it is a 1 point, a 4-3 MacCabe lead. However, there is a chance here to have this get a little out of hand if you're Preasley. So you want to make sure you're calling the right shot. You decide what weight you want to throw here. Decide where you want to leave your shooter. This is the first of 2 team timeouts for Team Preasley, and from our vantage point here, Roger, it is not just difficult, but it's impossible for us to see the teams as they're huddled below our broadcast vantage point here to even get any kind of indication what they might be chatting about, because they're at the opposite end to where the rocks are. So no indication here by any kind of body language what they're chatting about. But Alex Preasley and Anson Green. Again, Anson is the lead on this Preasley team, but he does hold the broom and call line for Skip Alex Preasley on his rock. So these 2 young men are going down there to talk about the call. I would say, based on where they put the broom, it's not going to be a quiet weight shot unless they're looking at coming across the face of that. But that coming across the face of that blue stone that you see there would only jam that blue rock. They might be thinking is take that blue out. You're going to if you hit it on the outside or the high side, you will lose your shooter. There is the potential, Roger, for that blue target stone to come across, make contact, and take out the other blue MacCabe stone. What you might have with a well executed shot here after this is done is 2 yellow Preasley rocks in the house. However, nothing of the sort. Again, without being able to see the actual call and just judging by where the broom was placed. Thinking about the hit, they are drawing in, so they're going with the assumption that the best defense here being a good offense, and they're trying to beat them to it. Great weight. Can they get it to curl in beyond that guard? Half open, half exposed.
So this gives an opportunity here for if Team MacCabe can get a nose hit, they can score their deuce.
Shot for two. Shot for two, but no shot for three. There's none that is obvious to this guy from this vantage point, although they're having a conversation about it. The two would seem to be a relatively easy call, and given the amount of time they're taking to look at this, they're either not entirely sure because, again, and maybe this played into the strategy of that draw, Roger, was we've seen some rocks down this line. Fool both teams. So
absolutely. So now, could they be looking at maybe trying to go straight down and trying to find that right weight, especially going down this end, while maybe that they can try and roll to the outside, not too much of a roll, still get their deuce, try to play it safe here a little bit. There's a lot of different options here that they could be looking for. Maybe they were just taking a sneak peek, see if they can if they could get three out of this end, but they looked at the options saying it's virtually impossible.
Team MacCabe with a bit of home field advantage here, and I mentioned before with the ice makers, the ice technicians doing a lot of work on this surface. This sheet here at Curl Moncton does tend to have a bit of a little funny spot down this line, and shot there with the attempt, and we see what we have there, Roger, a steal.
Looks like a steal of two for Team Preasley. And Team Preasley, who's come back and has stolen the last three ends, now hold a 5-4 lead against Team MacCabe in a must-win game for both these teams. Team MacCabe still does hold hammer here in the 8th end, trailing by 1. In an even number end, certainly an advantage for them. But they've given up 4 points here in the past 3 ends, and they must be thinking here that, things are not going right for them.
Team MacCabe just had 3 in their eyes. They had a big 3 that was lighting up, and a low percentage chance for 3 there. But as I mentioned before, knowing these MacCabe boys from league play as we do here at Curl Moncton, they don't mind throwing those upweight shots, and they saw that, and they saw an opportunity there for 3. Risk reward was at play there, and with that, with the 3 not materializing, and again a 5-point swing from the intention on it, certainly a 4-point swing. They had a relatively, no shot completely easy, but a relatively simple shot to score 2, instead giving up to a 4-point swing.
Anson Green puts up a center guard to start things off. And just want to remind our viewers that the Papa John 21 Curling Championships will continue tomorrow on 5 TV1, powered by Bell Alliant, bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Perfect time to turn on your computer in front with your breakfast and your coffee, and put the newspaper aside, watch some great curling tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Curl Moncton, and that is the Under 21 Curling Championships on 5 TV1, powered by Bell Alliant.
And do make sure you come down and watch a little bit of this live after you've had breakfast tomorrow with TV1. The single draw tickets here at Curl Moncton at 80 Lockhart Avenue, single game draw tickets only $5, a day pass $10, and 5 more from 10, 15 would get you a full event pass that you can take in all of the great curling that remains here over the weekend. See some of the great young athletes we have here in the province doing their. See, nice come around here. Team Preasley has been feeling really good about their game here in the last 3 to 4 ends with this great shot here. Really nice come around from Anson Green.
So starting things off here in the 7th end, and for those who have just joined us, just going to recap the score. This has been a game of steals. Team MacCabe started things off getting a steal of 1 in the first, 2 in the second. Preasley gets on the board with a single point in the third. MacCabe gets a single in the fourth, and then it's been all steals Preasley gets 1 in the fifth, steals 1 in the sixth, and 2 in the seventh, and team Alex Preasley leading 5-4. And we are currently in the 8th end.
You see James Larley here with delivery. James through 7 ends, playing at 82%. Playing a quiet weight shot, looking to come top 12. Team Preasley now with a nice center line guard about midway. Looking for this rock to be top 12. It's going to slide a little deeper than intended. Down essentially
nice freeze.
Making contact there. However, the stagger on that center line and T line, Yellowstone's allowing for a double if they want, but looks like they're just going to play to move these around a little bit. Reminder to Team MacCabe again that they still have the advantage of last rock. Not overly happy to have it after giving up all of those steals, but I see some rocks moved around here in the house, and with that nice control weight hit, now sitting 3, one about not quite, but just half on the back as you look down there now at past the 6 o'clock position on the rings, and rock back 12, a rock top 12. I see Alex Preasley making a play on that top 12 stone that you'll see coming to view here now. James Larley on the throw.
Good throw's got some good behind it. To remove the blue stone, the top 12 gets the job done, keeps the shooter outside the house.
Good throw, but advantage now definitely to Team MacCabe. The thrown rock that you just of Jack Smeltzer as we stand here, you see coming into view there. There's that yellow rock, but that is not that's not in his line of sight or in his way, in any way, shape, or form for a play on that top 4 center line. If he wants to roll under cover, the chance of jamming onto his own blue stone at the back of the house. So his options are to roll under cover, which I'm sure he would love to have, even at the sacrifice. We just saw, as you didn't see, but off our main camera, we just saw it come sideways from sheet 8 onto sheet 9, and move one of the in-play stones. But the team's pretty quick to put that back. And although I'm not charting it specifically, looks like they got it back into the right location. Jack Smeltzer with a nice quiet weight hit on that, but that rock still exposed on the inside. Team Preasley, Declan Johnson with the throw. Pressure's on that right away.
Gentle roll on the center line.
They would have loved it. Another rock and a half of roll to your right as you watch here at home, and under that yellow guard that's about the midway point. That rock is still completely exposed and available for Jack Smeltzer, with a couple of roll options here, a couple of yellow opponent stones out front that you can roll under, and certainly put some pressure on Team Preasley. Jack Smeltzer. Pressure's on that. Pressure. A little roll here away. Nicely, but not quite completely buried, but Alex Preasley motioning for the hit and roll under cover. There is a potential for a double on that rock you see just above from your perspective. But
so could you be seeing here that now getting into the 8th and Team Leighton MacCabe only being a team of 3, that fatigue could start being a factor with the sweeping and the thought process and the shot making process?
certainly with one brusher, you're pushing a little harder. On a shot that maybe only requires one brusher, you can't alternate, so you are it. Absolutely, but all of these athletes have been playing since quite possibly most of them since summer, since August. And as far as goes, while they may not be on a conditioning program that we're just talking about Olympic athletes, they may not be on that level of conditioning program. They're in good shape. They've been sweeping a lot of rocks here this curling season already. So, but yeah, it is deep in the game, and the arms may be.
Shot coming up by Jack Smeltzer.
Wide open hit. Opportunity now to get that perfect roll that eluded him on his previous shot. So Leighton MacCabe on the a little roll underneath cover here. Not quite. Nose hit and jamming that Yellowstone on the back, which I'm sure the MacCabe team was lining up as a possible third shot, a third counter, and a score of 3 in this end. 2 rocks now back 12 foot. Tough to say from our vantage point, but I'm going to say that the yellow rock is outcounting the blue rock, and the blue rock that you see just behind Smeltzer, taking a look at that in their camera position, that is the rock that a stone from sheet 8, the neighboring sheet, did come over, did make contact with it, did push it closer to the center line, and the teams agreeing on putting it back to where it is. If that rock ends up being outcounted at the end of this, they will certainly be questioning themselves on whether or not that stray stone from sheet 8 had an impact on that, and you really hope that doesn't happen.
No, but you can see that's a sense of fair play between all the teams that are here. Although it is a competition, but it is a friendly competition.
There was no hesitation, no argument in where to put that rock when they had to make that decision. Nice throw here, and Team Preasley, yellow, certainly counting 1 for sure, and debatable. You see Jack Smeltzer having a look. That's green, having another look. Neither one of them nice enough to give us any indication from our broadcast booth what they think is shot. Well, it's Preasley having a look as
So down to skip stones here in the 8th end.
Call for a draw to come around the. There's a yellow stone. A little change of plan here now. Not necessarily change of plan. They still want to play the come around. Little tactical change, going with the different turn, going with the out turn here for Leighton MacCabe, either because they're more comfortable with the ice and where to put the broom, or just they know that. The finish, the curl is there, and again they're staying away from that 4-foot line here on sheet 9 at Curl Moncton, where we've seen a few rocks not act exactly as they thought, so maybe a little concerned that it's not going to bury on that 4-foot line.
So
nice throw here, shot
nice
stone.
Throw. It is shot stone, but you can still see a quarter of the rock.
Absolutely, it's still accessible. They would have liked that stone a couple feet deeper, not just because it would have been a couple feet closer to the button, to the center, but also because a couple extra feet of travel would have coaxed a little more curl out of that stone, and they would have been completely buried and probably forced Alex Preasley with his final stone of this 8th end into a run back, and a stone that's midway, a midway guard. And he'll play probably a control weight hit on this. He needs to move this rock 6 feet or so he can't be too quiet with this, and that guard is going to come and play. It's sight, lots of rotation on that release. Sweepers need to jump on this pretty quickly and not lose it on the guard. Looks good so far.
So Preasley's final shot. He gets the hit and he'll get a long roll. Gets the shooter out.
Rolls away. Rolls out. So now we'll certainly be able to determine what's going on here, and as far as what's counting at the back of the house, and the indication here is to draw, which certainly tells me that the Yellowstone at the back of the house is number 2. The just on the left-hand side as you were looking, number 1. So a draw for 1. Draw for 1 to tie the game. He just threw this, so he should be really comfortable with the speed. Brusher should be really comfortable with doing his thing on this. Not much here for Jack Smeltzer to do as far as line call goes. Speed looks really nice.
So this looks like it's really good draw weight.
Little brush by the MacCabe brothers.
And it'll slow down just enough.
For 1, score of 1 now, so that brings us into our first tie score of this game as we finish up the 8th. Roger, you want to take us down the sheets?
Tied at 5 here after 8 between Team MacCabe against Team Preasley. They are currently in the 8th end right now, getting ready for their final stone. Team Lewis leading Team Donovan 5-3, and Team Tracy, they've started their 9th end. They got a single point in the 8th. They lead 3-2 against Team Marin.
So now, tie game. 2 Preasley with last rock advantage. The strategy would typically here, Roger, be to try to force a blank. And maintain that last rock advantage into the 10th end. As you mentioned earlier on, as we get into these latter ends, having that last rock advantage in those even ends. A little more stat here to share with our viewers. Time remaining, as far as thinking time remaining. Team MacCabe with a little over 12 minutes 11 seconds, and both timeouts. We've had 1 timeout call in this game, and that was called by Team Preasley. Team Preasley with 1 timeout remaining, and not quite 11 minutes, 10 minutes 46 seconds remaining as we started this 9th end. So certainly plenty of time to strategically these final 2 ends, and both teams again with 1 timeout for Preasley and 2 timeouts left for Team MacCabe. Team Preasley is no doubt going to try to play this end relatively clean, make their blank as easy as possible. Looking for the tick shot here. Looks like a really nice, great shot. As long as that Jack Smeltzer trying to coax that rock out of play, but not out of. What a fantastic rock. That rock is, from our camera, overhead camera, looks like it is, but looking at it from the inside out as we are, it looks like it's touched the red sideline, which would take it out of play. However, both of the players in the house had a look, and there's obviously daylight. A fantastic tick shot there. So 4 out of 4 on that, I would say, from Brian Rice. Thumbs up on that, on the 4 out of 4. Fantastic tick shot. Those are tough.
They were very tough shots.
Nice centerline guard replaced. Alex Preasley going up and motioning for the same. Probably thinking you made that look awful easy the first time. Just do it again, please, Anson. Anson Green here. Tick shot attempt. The lefty. Over the face of the rock. He's going to get a little more of a nose hit on this one. Not even coming up to nose. like quite enough speed to remove the blue rock out of play. So here in the 4 with the 4 rock rule, blue rock now pushed into the house. Yellow rock serving as a guard, and right now Team Preasley doesn't want a whole lot of guards out front. You see Jack Smeltzer with the call, asking Winston MacCabe to come around that yellow Preasley guard that's just between the center line and the 4-foot line as you watch at home here. Again, if you're just joining us, Team MacCabe this weekend, playing as a team of 3. So we have Winston MacCabe throwing 3 rocks each end, Jack Smeltzer with 3 rocks, and 2 rocks for Skip Leighton MacCabe. Rock perfectly buried in there now, and Alex Preasley calling for a run back. James Larley really happy with a run back. Plan B here would be to clear that guard off the front and lose his shooter. Close.
So the run back, and that'll miss the blue stone in the house.
Neither plan A nor plan B there for Team Preasley, leaving a center line guard. Team MacCabe, without the benefit of, will certainly look to take advantage of. 1 rock already, T line, edge of 4 foot. Jack Smeltzer settles in. Looking to come around, take advantage of that yellow guard out front. Pressure on it right away.
Smeltzer looking to go around that center guard. It'll just
little
nick on the center guard,
yep.
but it's covering the blue stone. It's in the 4 foot, so it's a high center guard.
Going for another peel here.
So it doesn't matter here what color that you peel. You'd rather see both gone from the middle. And you get 1, 2, but you jam the blue stone, and then it's still a guard.
Still a guard out there. So we'll see. As anticipated, Jack Smith going for a come around, calling essentially his own shot here now. Jack throwing 3 rocks, throwing the 4th, 5th, and 6th rocks of each end, and calling the game. Just indicated for the in-turn draw on this. They'd carry another one in around there. Really put the pressure on this Preasley team. Nice come around here would leave him with 2 MacCabe stones buried around center line, and a 3rd MacCabe stone behind cover on the left-hand side, as you'll see here momentarily coming into your view at home. That yellow guard partially covering that blue MacCabe stone. It's on the edge of the 12-foot. Both brushers on this now. Line looks great now. Just all about speed from these brushers. Quite as deep as he wanted, however, nicely lined up there for Team MacCabe with a guard, a rock top 12, a rock T line. Chance here, however, for 3rd Declan Johnson to take advantage of that relatively straight line and get some rocks moving here.
So Declan Johnson's first stone.
This rock floating a little bit wide. Looked from my vantage point that he may have slid just a little narrow and may have compensated by directing that out towards the broom. And as we've seen on that foot line here this evening, that's been a spot where you can't afford to be wide or to be heavy or to be light. It's a fairly sensitive line, and with that throw, removing 1 rock, but still very much advantage Team MacCabe here as we play 9 in a tie. 5-5. 5-5, 2 ends to play. Win and stay in, lose and go home. So essentially, it's down to a 2-end game.
shot by Smeltzer.
We're going to replace that high guard. The higher guard here for Team MacCabe, making any kind of run back more difficult. More real estate between rocks, always going to make it more difficult. And if you can stagger these a little bit, it makes the run backs much more difficult here. You see that rock not quite curling up as much as you like. See, Alex Preasley was taking a peek at how much he can see on that rock that's top 12.
And that has been the story going down the far end.
That spot.
Where it's been that spot. It's been a lot straighter than usual. So
we'll see what as you see with the line call. Skip Alex Preasley has the broom just inside the outside edge of that rock. For a rock that is you can only see daylight between that rock and the guard, and you see that rock drift out again. That is a tricky spot. Although he makes contact with the MacCabe stone that's in the rings, but not enough to take it out. That's a spot where again with only two ends and not two full ends worth of rocks to get it figured out. Bringing their speed down on that to get a little bit of curl where you only have a little bit of daylight around a guard is the way to go, but not to make a double with something that's board weight in all likelihood. Skip Leighton MacCabe.
Leighton MacCabe's first stone.
Now they'll be
You're in the ninth end.
Looking to apply a little bit of pressure here with the steal opportunity. Rock in a good position in the house.
So it's got good curl around the guard. It'll establish itself in the house.
That's a nice guard. Well thrown rock. Gave his brother on sweeping a little bit of a break there. Didn't have to do anything other than escort it down. Little fist bumps here. And a good shot from Leighton MacCabe. The opportunity is there for Alex Preasley to come around that center line guard, freeze into that blue MacCabe stone that you see there in the 4-foot tee line. He would be completely buried, but he needs to make a really good shot here to salvage this end and not have a steal here in 9. Steal of 1 in 9, not the end of the world. He'd retain last rock into the 10th end.
But you don't want to give up deuce.
You don't want to give up steal 2 here. It would make the 10th end more difficult. Alex Preasley here. Give this to his brushers. Brushers on it right away. Nothing from green in the house calling line. Lots of room around this guard. How's his speed? Speed looks like it's a little heavy.
And that'll just nick.
He
lies shot, but
he is shot. He is completely buried. However, as we've seen down this line for Team MacCabe, they'll play a quiet shot, probably back 8 weight or so. Look to move that yellow Preasley stone that just came to rest. Move that back into the back of the 8-foot. Sit 2 blue stones, complete cover, and leave Alex Preasley with a very tough shot with his Leighton MacCabe's last rock of this 9th end. Looking for a back 8 weight shot with his intern. Brother Winston MacCabe here on the sheet. Nothing yet. This rock hanging out. Starting to move now. Going up just
a bit of a nudge, and is it enough? That's the question.
Not enough right now. Right now with one of his own rocks to play, and the last rock of the end, Alex Preasley, with last rock. Sitting 1, Team Preasley sitting 1. Team MacCabe with 2 stones in play. If you really, Roger, needed to score 2 in this end, you would think about what you can do. Alex Preasley may be thinking about it. Looks like he's going to get a little team input on this, and probably the decision being, do we play a really tough shot for 2? Do we take a 1-point lead into the 10th end without last rock advantage? Try to force Team MacCabe to 1 and then play an extra end. We might have some bonus coverage here if we go to an 11th end. Take a 1-point lead in without last rock. They are throwing this one to the wings. See Anson Green doing a little don't sweep that rock dance in the back of the house.
So that gives them 1 for Alex Preasley. They're going to go into 10th end, leading at 6-5.
Sometimes the better part of valor in that and taking their 1 and moving on to 10. What's happening across our sheets here, Roger?
So quick updates on sheet 8. It is Team Lewis 6-3. They are in the 9th end against Team Donovan, while Team Tracy and Team Marin, that is our bonus coverage on sheet 7, and they are about to start their 10th and final end. And from just trying to look.
While we're going there, just a quick update on thinking time remaining. Lots of time for this 10th end. Team MacCabe throwing the Bluestones with a little over 9 minutes remaining at the start of this end, and Team Preasley throwing yellow with just a little over 7 minutes remaining. Team Preasley here looking for the high guard. Can they coax this? And no.
So it is a tie game 3-3 between Team Tracy and Team Marin, with Team Tracy holding the hammer in the 10th and final end.
Probably no surprise here after the 9th end, and thanks again to Brian Rice for our stats. We've gone from a tie game to a 1-point lead for Preasley. On the stats side, Team Preasley has narrowed the gap to square with Team MacCabe as far as team percentage go after 9 ends. Both teams now at 72%. Team Preasley having brought its percentage up from 60% early in the game to 72, with second James Larley continuing to lead at 78%, and skip Alex Preasley, Mr. Consistency as far as the percentage goes here throughout the game at 72%. Skip Layton, Team MacCabe, 64%, no doubt impacted by his decision to go for 3 and giving up a steal of 2 in the 7th end on that, impacting his stats. But right now stats don't mean a whole lot from the previous 9 ends. They're great for confidence, but we're into the 10th end of a 1-point game. See that stone sliding deep into the house, just hanging on in the back.
So here it looks like that Team Preasley's strategy, even though they're leading by a single point, the less rocks that are in play, better it is for them.
Yes, because if they can keep this really clean, force Team MacCabe to a single here in 10, they would then go to 11th with the advantage of last rock. Jack Smeltzer called a come around. They have a corner guard, so the plan for a score of 2 is in place with the corner guard. So the 2 brushers heavy hard on this to try to coax a little bit of line, get that rock just a little deeper, but still exposed now for Team Preasley.
James Larley.
James Larley with the throw.
And his job is to peel away as many Bluestones as he can possibly see, and they're going to focus on the one that is on the top 12. Hit and roll.
They've been rolling away. They want to roll this over as far as they can. It covers their other yellow that is back 12, but Jack Smeltzer sizing this up and feeling that rocks in the 12 foot are not a concern. They're looking to score 2, and if they're going to score 2, they're probably going to do it. The rock's a little tighter than in the 12 foot, so looking to take advantage of that high corner guard that you're going to see come into play here very shortly. MacCabe brothers on the sweep. Winston MacCabe with the throw.
Try and put that back into the house.
Line looks good, but
won't have enough.
A little short. I think they knew that right out of his hand when Winston MacCabe jumped up to brush that, and Alex Preasley, as you go, Roger, not wanting any rocks in play, and certainly no blue rocks in play. So he's looking to peel off that rock that just came short. That's now acting as a guard. This rock curling up. They don't want to nose this and do them the favor of returning a guard.
They get a bit of a roll.
Roll over. They could have probably called the sweep on that just a little sooner and hit less of that blue stone and rolled further to the right-hand side, as you watch here at as you watch at home. Does give Team MacCabe a couple of options, and in the previous 2 rocks looking to come around their own blue guard that's just outside of the 4 foot line. Their plan changed a little bit here now. They're going to look to duck around that yellow rock that you see just outside of the rings. Try to make a play on that. A little tighter guard. You are coming around your opponent. Gives them the opportunity to run it back. However, if you are a little exposed, you do have yellow rocks there as backing, and the jam does come into play. A lot of thought about what to play, where to leave it. Nothing from the brusher yet. With lots of speed here from Smeltzer. Rock going to slip towards the back of the house.
Good sweeping. Brings it back.
Yellow and Preasley still lying 1 there over the top of Alex Preasley's right shoulder, as you see from our vantage point. It's Preasley looking to bring another one in behind that rock that you see just off of the rings and just on the outside edge of the 4 foot. So looking to lie 2 here. Lie 2 with 1 buried. There's Declan Johnson. Pressure's on it right away. Right on it for line. Line looks good. That rock's that is great. Move that rock a little deeper in. Fantastic line.
You got it good.
Great shot. That's they're continuing to put the pressure on. Team Preasley's had a fantastic second half to this game.
Absolutely. Up steals of 3 points in the first 2 ends. They've certainly come back, and they've played some great curling.
Well, Jack Smeltzer with some decisions to make here and a rock to throw. Calling for a hit. If you hit, he'd love to have a little inside roll under cover. Perhaps even staggered a little bit. You don't necessarily want to roll completely under that collection of 2 yellow rocks and make the run back a little easier. Makes the line call a little easier when you're running straight back like that. He probably wants a little stagger on this, but he wants to duck a little bit of that rock under cover.
Smeltzer shot.
Nothing yet from the line call. Here's that side of the sheet that continues to drift.
Yeah, and that is going to go. Just hit one of the rocks, bring it into the house.
Didn't look like Jack threw more weight than he wanted on that, but nice control weight shot. If he had come across the face, he would have got the roll that he wanted. But that side and that spot on the ice continues to cause them some small fits.
Declan Johnston getting ready here for his second stone.
Pressure's on this one right away. Gonna come top 12. Come top 12. That'll make the path a little more difficult for Team MacCabe as they look to score one here with hammer. Tie this game, score 2 and win the game. Here as we play 10 at the Papa John's under 21 New Brunswick Curling Championships here at Curl Moncton. And remember, we've got some great games on the ice this evening, and if you want to come down tomorrow, single draw admission, only $5, $10 for the day, $15 will get you all curling that remains on Saturday and Sunday here at Curl Moncton. Jack Smeltzer with his last of 3 rocks, again with Team MacCabe playing only 3. Jack Smeltzer with 3 rocks. This is the third of his 3 here in 10. Looking now to come around and bury. You want to be shot rock after this, although they will be shot rock and behind. If they are shot rock, they'll be behind the Preasley rocks with the opportunity for Team Preasley to run the coming short. Stagger on those guards. I would expect Team Preasley will motion to come into the button, but you don't want to leave Team MacCabe with an out here by coming in too deep. I like that second thought more on that, Roger, to throw a guard up there, just overlap a little bit of the corner of that blue stone that you see that's just over center line. Really close off the 4-foot path down the middle, and as you see, there was a high guard out there on just outside the 4-foot line, which would really limit Team MacCabe's ability to get into that 4-foot. There's Alex Preasley with the first of his 2 here in 10.
Team Preasley holding shot stone here. 10th and final end.
Don't want to be deep. Nothing from the brushers yet. As a thrower, you love to see the brushers jump on this because it gives you an indication that your speed is pretty close. Gonna come too deep. Tuck a corner around here, however.
Line looks good, weight looks good, and you are top 8.
And you're leaving a double here. That rock just slid a couple of feet too deep. An opportunity here for Leighton. An opportunity here for Leighton MacCabe. You can see not quite half of that rock that just came to rest, as you see center line top 8-foot. There is a rock that you can't see on your screen. I guess you can just see a little bit of it now outside of just beyond Jack Smeltzer. You play the double on that, and your shooter should roll under cover.
So both teams do still have plenty of time left on their thinking time, just under 6 minutes, and they both have their timeouts.
Team MacCabe here chat about this, opting instead to use their blue rock, last rock that Jack Smeltzer threw in this end, which is overlapping a yellow stone, looking to play this back into the yellow rocks that are in the house. Interesting option from my perspective, at least. There's Leighton MacCabe. A little off on the line call.
Correct off one, and roll in, and that gives Team MacCabe shot stone.
It does hit that yellow stone a little thicker than he would have liked to, a little thinner, and he would have spun a little more undercover. It leaves half a rock here for Alex Preasley. Alex Preasley is got to be thinking hit what you can see. But you can see more than half a rock here, Roger, and what that means is, from a line perspective, for Anson Green calling line on this shot, as soon as you have contact, call your brushers on, because you don't need to hold your shooter here. You're sitting 2, timeout.
Not surprising. You've got both your timeouts. You're a young team. You want to make sure that you're making you're going to make sure that you got it right. So talk it over with your coach, and this gives the opportunity that tomorrow's action will start at 8:30 a.m. here at Curl Moncton. 3 draws over the course. It's 8:30, 1:30, and 6:30. That's streaming live on 5TV1.
And at least one more opportunity here, and 10 to thank our sponsors of this provincial championship, Papa John's, our title sponsor. Shout out to Papa John's and Darren and the crew from Papa John's, as well as Bob Lee Productions, Modern Construction, and Shoppers Drug Mart. So thank you to those corporate supporters of our young athletes here in New Brunswick. As you see here on screen, it's Preasley lining things up. They had looked just before the timeout call to play an angle run back on their own rock that's just off of the 4-foot line. But, you bring a whole lot of angles into play when you're doing that, especially when you have a rock that's half exposed. You have a rock that's half exposed on a line that you've seen, and they're inside of that 4-foot line. That 4-foot line has been a bit of a troublesome spot, but they're inside of that now, Roger, and it should be a matter of throwing decent weight. If he can throw his peel weight under control, he may throw that, but a nice solid takeout here.
So this is the final stone
on that. A little outside motion of that. That rock is still on that guard, just creeping off it. Is it going to get off it enough? Yes, it is.
And he will get the hit.
Nice throw.
And the roll.
Nice throw. You see Winston MacCabe and his zeal to get out and sweep that yellow rock take a little. Didn't look like he made contact or touched any stones. Right now, Roger, Team Preasley sitting 1, 2, and 3. 4-foot line. The 4-foot is wide open, but the 4-foot is under a lot of cover as you look here. What you can't see over in front of Jack Smeltzer is a rock that is top 8 foot on the center line, just over Jack's left shoulder, and they're coming into view now. You see all of those yellow rocks that are there in the 4-foot area, top house and short of the rings. What this is doing is forcing Leighton MacCabe to an out-turn draw. That is, you're going away from center line, which means you're going away from the large part of the 4-foot, and your scoring area continues to shrink as you. And Team Preasley with counters top and back 8. Nothing from the brusher yet.
So on the final stone for Team MacCabe.
He can afford a little wick and roll in.
He gets the wick.
Is he going to get it?
And he will roll, and it looks
like... He is not. That's a win for Team Preasley.
And it is handshakes around, and it is a steal of 1.
Another steal.
For Team Preasley, and Team Preasley will keep moving on with a 7-5 win against Team MacCabe, and with Team MacCabe's third loss, they are in this triple knockout bonspiel.
Thievery, the theme of the evening here for Team Preasley, with steal after steal after steal, and stealing 10 here with the lead. We see some handshakes over here on sheet 8 as well. Roger, what have we got for final scores here tonight?
So final scores, it is a 7-5 win for Team Lewis against Team Donovan on sheet 8, and on sheet 7, Team Liam Marin got 1 in the 9 and 1 in the 10 to come back for a 4-3 win against Team Tracy. But our feature game, Team MacCabe, suffers a 7-5 defeat against Team Preasley. Tomorrow's action here at Curl Moncton will start at 8:30 on 5TV1, here powered by Bell Alliant. Our feature game, Team Preasley, 7-5 win against Team MacCabe. From all of us here at Curl Moncton, you've been watching the 2017 U21 Curling Championships on 5TV1, powered by Bell Alliant.